Welcome to Season 2 of Stadium Unplugged with me, Jay Menon. Now, if you're not familiar with what the show is about, well, it's when I sit down with big sporting names and I ask them nothing about the sport that have made them the household names that they are. Instead, I ask them about who they are behind all the championship stats and medals. Today, I speak to one of the most prolific goal scorers in English football. In a career that spanned almost 2 decades, he played more than 500 matches and scored close to 250 goals in the top flight of English football. This West Ham United legend spent 6 seasons at Upton Park before moving to Everton. But once a hammer, always a hammer. He returned to London for a couple more seasons before a surprise move to Southeast Asia. He donned the colours of Selangor, a club likened to being the Manchester United of Malaysia, and won the 1997 FA Cup with the Red Giants, as they are fondly known to fans. Upon his return to England, he helped Leicester City to victory in the 2000 League Cup, while on the international front, this legend has been capped 7 times for his country. Today, he is a respected and well sought after TV pundit both in the UK and Asia. Welcome to Stadium Unplugged, Tony Cottee. Now, I've had the pleasure of meeting you on quite a few occasions, and I know you're such a gentleman. I want to know, did this start when you were a child as well, being a total gentleman?
I try, Jay. I'm not always a gentleman. I don't know, it's just my character. I think I'm just very placid. I sort of put up with things, but when I do go, I go badly, but it's very, very rarely, and what you see is what you get, really. I'd like to think I'm a nice person, but that's for other people to judge.
Okay, now you grew up in London's East End. What was it like, your childhood there?
Very happy, very settled. I was originally born in West Ham, which is obviously my team, and my family moved out to a place called Romford in Essex, which is probably about 15 miles east of London. But it was a very happy upbringing, you know. My mum and dad were very happy. I had my brother and my sister. I was the eldest. But it was just football, driving everyone mad. I used to play in the front room, put my sister in goal and play against my brother, and she, you know, it was all revolving around football. And of course, at the weekends, I played Saturday and Sunday, and I feel sorry for my brother and my sister because they just got dragged along with everything to do with football, and they didn't really have their own lives. But I suppose it all worked out well in the end because obviously I did, you know, achieve my goal.
Not such a gentleman after all. Forcing
forcing my sister to go in goal is not good, is it?
Oh my gosh, yes, I didn't even think about that one. Okay,
no, it's not good.
But did they eventually get into football as well? Meaning, you know, as much as you did, in a different.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, girls are different. I mean, you know, it's great nowadays because the girls take a lot more interest in football. But we're going back to the 1970s, 1980s, and my sister wasn't that interested in it really. Her husband now is a mad West Ham fan, so she's got 5 kids, so she has to be a little bit interested. My brother played football at a much lower level than what I did, but he's still a West Ham fan as well, so we've still got the historical West Ham supporting element.
All right, now taking it way back though, how did football even start? Was it your dad that brought it into the family, or was it you picking it up from all the other kids? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, so he tells me, was a very good amateur player. So he tells me. Now we got we don't know whether that's true or not.
Okay.
But no, I was just football crazy. Once I got to the age of, I suppose, about 4 or 5, where you know what life's all about, and you know, sort of look in the newspapers. And I used to get there used to be a weekly football magazine I used to get delivered to me, and I just couldn't get enough of football, and in particular West Ham, which was my team. But I think I realised personally around about the age of 7 that when I played football, I could do what the other kids couldn't do, and that was score goals. And you know, everyone struggled to score goals, and for me it was easy. It was the easiest thing in the world to do, and I don't know. I mean, there's no reason for me to have had the talent of scoring goals because, you know, no one in my family played football at a high level, apart from my dad as an amateur. I had no great uncle or granddad who played for professional, so why me? I don't know the answer to that, Jay, but I just think I was blessed and given a natural talent, which for me was fantastic. I was born in West Ham. I was a West Ham fan. My mum and dad were West Ham. My nans and granddads were West Ham. I'm a 4th generation West Ham fan, going right back to when the club was formed in the early 20th century. And my twin boys, who I was talking to you about earlier, you know, they are now 5th generation West Ham fans. We went to Wembley for the playoff final together, and you know, West Ham's my club, always will be.
Idols growing up, who were they?
there was a guy called Brian Pop Robson, who played for West Ham. Not the Brian Robson of Manchester United. This was a guy before him, and he played up front for West Ham. Fantastic goal scorer, and I used to watch him very closely and try and learn from him. And the other guy that was my idol, and you'll know this name as well, Gerd Müller.
Oh, of course, the bomber.
The bomber. You know, what a player, fantastic for Germany. And I mean, I was a bit young for the 1970 World Cup, but the 1974 World Cup, Germany, West Germany as it was, won the World Cup, beat Holland in the final. Gerd Müller scored his goal, and I just thought he was a fantastic goal scorer. I think he scored 68 goals in 65 games or something ridiculous that's never going to be achieved again. And you know, they was my two heroes.
Have you met them, talked to them, you know?
I met Pop, Brian Robson, a lovely, lovely man, and very, very quiet. And people always say you shouldn't meet your idols, and you know, I wasn't disappointed when I met Brian. He was a fantastic man, very gentle, kind man, and it was great for me to meet him. Haven't met the bomber yet. I'd love to meet him. I'll have to come with you, Jay. Maybe one day we'll go to Germany together and go and meet Gerd Müller. I'd love to do that.
I'm going to make your dream come true at some point. I'm going to try at least, okay?
Okay.
Okay, now when did you actually decide to play football professionally? I know you said that, you know, scoring goals came naturally, but what was that point that said, you know what, I want to do this for the rest of my life?
I think really when I signed as a schoolboy for West Ham, I mean, nowadays they get the kids at 5 and 6 years of age, which is miles too young. West Ham spotted me as a 12-year-old playing Sunday football, and I think once I made the decision to become a schoolboy for West Ham, associate schoolboy, I think my mind started to drift towards maybe becoming a footballer. But the problem I had was I was a fan. I was a crazy, crazy fan, and I used to travel all around the UK to watch West Ham, travel to Newcastle on a train, and I wanted to be a supporter, and but the fact I then chose to become a player, I couldn't be a supporter anymore. So that disappointed me, to be honest, because I missed those days. I'm now happy I can go to Wembley as I did for West Ham and watch the game as a supporter. But I'd say 12, 13, and then I joined West Ham at 15, and of course once you're an apprentice, you're really all systems go to become a proper player.
What was your family reaction? Your 3 generations before you of West Ham supporters.
They was all really pleased, and I think when I made my debut, because I made my debut at the age of 17 for West Ham, and I didn't know that I was playing, but because my family were all West Ham fans, there was about 25 of the family at the game anyway. And it was, you know, it was the days of no mobile phones or whatever, so I couldn't contact them. And then, of course, they read the team out, and there's my name, and they're all like, "Is he playing?" So it was an incredible day. Obviously, things have changed a bit now, and you can tweet and whatever to tell your family. But back in those days, it was a real big surprise for them.
Okay. Coming up after this with Tony Cottee.
Oh, you're too old. Go away. You're not a footballer anymore. Go away. And you're in the big bad world, and the business world is different. And